Welcome to TMZ Live. This is really interesting, and this is an issue that has been front page, if you will, since I was a young man. And it has to do with weight, the weight of women in particular, and when it becomes dangerous. Ariana Grande is stepping back after her tour because she is just getting torched online by people who say she is way too thin, that she is in danger of dying. There are, if you're not going to believe this, if you don't know, there are pro-anorexia groups that are basically using Ariana as a poster child, using the word goal when they put her picture up. And that has caused her what appears to be some real emotional distress. So she is going to step back from the public eye. Weird to say, in the middle of a tour and with an album, but she just cannot take it. Her rep says it's too much. But I don't think there is anybody who has followed Ariana Grande over the last couple of years who hasn't seen a change in her. And at a point, there's a difference between a change in physical appearance and where people become alarmed. And I think that's kind of become the dividing line right now.
Yeah, and this response that she's released seems to be coming on the heels of her music video being released over the weekend called Pedal. And in the video, you really see how thin she has become. Like you said, it has been a topic in Hollywood and in the world for quite some time. But when this video came out, I think a lot of people were really concerned about her health. So, of course, that generated a lot of chatter on social media, including by Jamila Jamil, who had posted a lengthy statement saying, you know, a pretty extreme statement saying that we're literally watching someone dying right before our eyes, and blamed Ariana's team. She said that it's, you know, terrible that her team is just watching this, standing by, and not, you know, helping her be a better, as a person, you know, for all the young girls out there.
It is really interesting because, look, I'm sorry for hearkening back here, but Karen Carpenter, a long time ago, was clearly anorexic. And there were people who were whispering about it, but not really talking about it. And she died. And even though she had finally realized, oh my God, I've got to do something, and was actually gaining weight, her heart just gave out. So there are a lot of people who are doing this, not because they don't like Ariana Grande, but they're concerned. Now, there may be misplaced concern where people start talking about somebody's weight. But when you go back to that video, she looks just really, really thin. Now, they are saying it's because she's been on tour, she's very energetic, and she is in fine health.
Yeah, they've said nothing about her battling an eating disorder, and just said that
she is really thin.
Really thin, but also canceling some appearances after her Eternal Sunshine tour, which ends in September, on September 1st in London. And she's actually not going to be doing a play that she had scheduled with Jonathan Bailey, who was her co-star on Wicked, because she's going to take some time to herself. What that includes, you know, it's unclear.
Yeah, I think a lot of people also say, hey, we don't want to comment on women's bodies. We shouldn't comment about what people look like. But sometimes you should comment if you think somebody needs help, or if you want somebody to be healthy, especially somebody with tons of young fans like Ariana Grande.
Yeah, but I think there's an overlay here, that it's not just commenting and saying, oh, I'm worried about Ariana Grande. When you've got these, I mean, it's hard to understand the concept of it in a way, but there are groups that are considered pro-anorexia that are ballyhooing these videos saying, this is great, this is our poster child. It's not even so much just about Ariana as it is sending a message to people that the thinner you are, no matter what, the better, to the point of anorexia. Now, whether she is anorexic or not, that you've got these pro-anorexic groups that are reaching a lot of women out there. That in itself is dangerous, irrespective of Ariana.
And I think a lot of people don't know that anorexia is the #1 cause of death in mental health cases. It's not depression, it's not anxiety, not OCD, it's anorexia.
What are
And
they saying in the chat?
They're saying it's called free speech. You can comment on anything. She's way too thin. She looks awful. People are really concerned about her health, mostly.
That's really interesting, too, because people are saying that you shouldn't comment on people's weight. And I get it to a point, but when you've got these groups that are coming out saying, this is the model, I'm not sure speaking out is inappropriate.
Hi, I'm Caroline. I'm coming at you from Washington, D.C. And I think this is such a divided topic because one part of me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love Ariana. It's so sad to see her being scrutinized, especially after everything she's been through. And then the other side of me is like, I understand people's concern and I know it's a really big issue. So it's kind of like, where do we approach this? Do we approach this? Is this our job to approach this? It's kind of like that double-edged sword where you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to respond to this.
If you had to come down one way or the other, is it appropriate to comment on it? You got to go one way or the other.
I would say yes, but you have to do it in a better way. I feel like some people are being just so awful about it, but I think it's okay to comment. Just you have to be very, very clear about what you're saying.
This is one of the most outrageous things I have seen in a while. So now we know Jeanine Pirro has dropped charges against David Hearn, the Olympian who was arrested for allegedly vandalizing the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. She has dropped the charges because she now says they can't prove that he vandalized it, that this was a combination of a botched job, which was at the behest of Donald Trump, hiring somebody from one of his country clubs in a no-bid contract, and the fact that it was rushed to get it done for the 250th birthday celebration. So what has happened is Jeanine Pirro, the U.S. attorney who got this indictment, did this all ass backwards, that she decides, let's indict him first, and then we'll get the facts. It's supposed to be the other way. It's supposed to be get the facts, and then if you can support an indictment, then indict. Now listen to how ferocious she was when she announced the charges.
Our evidence further shows that the National Park Service employees observed Hearn actually forcefully and violently pulling up and removing the bottom liner with both hands. According to witnesses, Hearn damaged approximately 2 square feet of sealant from the bottom of the pool.
So here's the thing. So Jeanine Pirro says now it's faulty installation. Well, if she really does have witnesses, even if there's faulty installation, they could still prosecute David Hearn if you can prove what these eyewitnesses say they saw. And if you can't prove it, and if the eyewitnesses, if they exist, made it up, why isn't she going after the eyewitnesses?
Right, providing false information to federal authorities is
Right.
a crime.
Right.
It's the kind of crime that's prosecuted all the time, by the way.
We haven't heard a thing about that.
We haven't heard a thing about that in this situation here. And this goes back to, she felt obviously a tremendous pressure from the administration to bring charges against somebody because there was a real desire to avoid admitting that the contractor had screwed up. So they found an eyewitness or somebody willing to say that this guy
With that,
had pulled
she
his
actually
tongue.
ended up saying multiple witnesses.
Multiple witnesses, but where are all those witnesses? We never heard from them, but we now know that they're doing a 180 saying this guy didn't commit this crime, but the president still insists.
Well,
that he
yeah,
did.
I mean, come on, he insists a lot of things. And it's interesting that now there's a divide between Jeanine Pirro.
That's right. He went
and
after
Donald.
her personally.
The fact
Yes.
that Jeanine Pirro is doing something to cross Donald Trump must show how ridiculous this case was.
It's pretty remarkable that she came out over the weekend and said that this guy had, it was faulty installation.
She did Friday.
On Friday. And she must not have gone to him first, right?
I
Because
would-
he would have instructed her not to hold the press conference.
I would think she didn't, but that shows how ridiculous this is. And she goes out there to the reflecting pool after she indicts this guy and apparently looks down and realizes, uh-oh, and then she asks for the various departments to look into it, and then they find out it's a botched job.
Right.
So, again, if they've got eyewitnesses who could show David Hearn did that, even if it's a faulty installation, they could have still indicted him. But they didn't. They haven't come forward. I wonder if these witnesses even exist. But if they don't exist, why isn't she taking action? And by the way, if Donald Trump gets this $1.8 billion slush fund, would David Hearn be entitled to compensation?
Sure, the whole purpose of the slush fund was to reimburse people who have been wronged by wrongful prosecution. David Hearn would be at the center of that, presumably.
Somebody asked that question.
Our chat agrees. They think he should get money. He should be reimbursed. He should sue her for billions. And they say it definitely is faulty. It was Trump's fault.
They had me until they mentioned billions, but yes, I mean, there are wrongful prosecution statutes that he could certainly take advantage of here, presuming that there is no witness, that this was all sort of concocted.
It's so outrageous. This guy's life was upended for no reason. And it was just because, Donald Trump said it's vandalism. They arrested this guy, and it's let's get him.
Hi, I'm Nicole, and the reflecting pool was butchered because of the job that the contractors hired by the White House did. Like, they were rushed to get it done by America's 250th birthday, and they did it, and as a result, they botched it. And Trump will never take accountability, right? So he's going to blame an American, a patriot, arguably, an Olympian, right, who represented proudly his country.
I got to say, I'm not looking at this so much from Trump's point of view. I'm looking at it from the Justice Department's point of view, that the way you do things is to investigate first and then to make a decision on charging. You don't ruin someone's life and then say, oops.
Coming up.
A woman shows up at Shamar Moore's house, and the woman says, I've been talking to Shamar online, and he asked me to come out to Los Angeles to live with him. And Shamar's girlfriend said, get out of here.
Be right back.
Feel really bad for this woman. A woman shows up at Shamar Moore's house with luggage and says, I'm here. His girlfriend had answered the door and said, who are you? And the woman says, I've been talking to Shamar online, and he asked me to come out to Los Angeles from South Carolina to live with him. And she had her luggage, and she was standing at the doorstep, and Shamar's girlfriend said, get out of here. And this woman is stunned.
In her defense, she's thinking...
I just feel bad for her.
The reason I don't feel bad for her, I was going to say in her defense, maybe she's thinking, I've been talking to this man, who are you?
Well, she was thinking that.
But it's 2026, Harvey. We're almost 2027. There's no way that you're talking to someone for months at a time. You've gotten on a plane and or drove across the country, and you haven't FaceTimed him, you haven't Zoomed with him. There's just no way that you don't know that you're not talking to the real one in 2026.
There are so many people who have been scammed out of their life savings. And when you look back at it, you think, how could they be so naive? But it's not like, I don't see a huge difference between somebody who falls for one of these things saying, go to the bank and, withdraw $70. It's the same principle.
No, it's not. It's the same principle, but not the same thing, because that is
your
like
life savings.
Harvey, you get spam messages all the time and you open them. We told you don't open that text.
You
do that all the time. That is totally different than you getting in your car, driving across country because you've been talking to Martha May.
Would somebody in here help me out? There is somebody, a celebrity, who came out in the last week or two saying, I can't believe I was scammed. I'm more sophisticated than that, but they got scammed by one of these spam things. Anybody remember this?
It was a CBS News anchor that actually walked into his bank and was asking, hey, is this actually legit? And his bank told him, no, it's a complete scam.
See, he didn't get scammed. He didn't actually go. He went and checked it out.
He was that close. Harvey, he went to the bank.
That's equivalent to getting on FaceTime and checking and making sure that the person you see is Shamar Moore.
She was naive. She's not crazy.
Harvey, why would she not FaceTime him? Just riddle me that.
Because maybe she doesn't use FaceTime.
Well, then how?
What?
His name is Matt Gutman, and he was.
It was Matt Gutman.
Matt
Gutman is a really good.
And he was scammed of almost
no, he's not a news anchor. He's a
$7,000.
correspondent. And you're right. It was Matt Gutman. Good move. Good move, Sophia.
Hi, I'm Jordan. I'm from South Carolina. And I, too, would want to be roommates with Shamar Moore in a Malcolm Todd type of way. I get that. But I just think, it is kind of crazy. I would have at least reverse image searched who he was because, obviously he's famous.
Yeah.
Huge TV show. I just think that overall, it's really great that it was safe in the end because we've seen so many times celebrities have stalkers show up to their house, like Miranda Cosgrove.
But she's not a stalker, right?
You have to be a certain level of crazy to get in a car to go to a man's house in 2026.
Well, but she believed that she had some kind of a relationship with him.
Who gets in a
I can believe in a lot of things too, but not enough to show up to someone's house, meet their partner, who amazing job diffusing the situation, by the way, and refuse to leave. That's insane. But I'm glad she did in the end, so nothing bad happened.
The mystery surrounding Kurt Cobain's death has resurfaced. There are documents that have now been published by the New York Post, which show there's not too long after Kurt Cobain died. And remember, the authorities up in Seattle said it was a suicide, that he shot himself in the greenhouse of the home that he shared with his wife, Courtney Love, and that they said it was a suicide, open and shut. Many years later, still, there are a lot of people who don't think Kurt Cobain's death was a suicide. There are people who believe it was foul play. There are some people who believe that he may have died of a heroin overdose at the hands of someone else, and that someone else may have shot him to make it look like a suicide. There are all sorts of theories. Well, this is interesting. Courtney Love's lawyer at the time had sent a letter, and this is shortly after the investigation, sent a letter to the Seattle Police Department, which had jurisdiction, saying that they wanted the entire file sent over to Courtney and that the police should not retain any copies of this police report. That is bizarre. It's something the police would never do. I mean, the idea that the police department would basically scrub any evidence of its investigation and give everything to Courtney Love, you got to wonder, A, why they would ask. Well,
I know why they were asking them because she felt at the time that she was happy with how the investigation went. She believed it was a suicide,
right.
And she had worries that people in the department were leaking documents, leaking pictures. So this was her way of trying to protect personal things in the document being leaked to the media or leaked to people. That was her reasoning behind it. I mean, I guess it seems a little sketchy, but also the police would never do this. Obviously, they didn't. They kept the records.
But the fact that they requested it is bizarre to me because the police aren't going to do that. So it's almost like you are erasing any evidence of how the police reached the conclusion they did. And it's like, it's one thing if she wants a copy. And yeah, I mean, she was worried that people might profit off of this thing. I get it. But the idea that a lawyer would think that the police department would scrub that.
I've never heard of anyone ever ask. I mean, I've heard of them obviously wanting the files, but to not keep any copies? I've never heard of that being requested ever.
And the police obviously said no. And they denied the request, as they denied the request of the photographs that they had taken at the crime scene. But this thing has not gone away, and there are groups out there that.
Why do you think people think it's not a suicide? It seemed to me, I've seen the documents and I've read everything, and it seems pretty open and shut that it was a suicide.
It is an interesting read if you start looking at some of the holes in this case that people have raised.
Yeah, our chat is saying they got really into conspiracy theory videos, documentaries about
this is what is causing the conspiracy theories.
No, to some extent, but I'm telling you, if you read some of this stuff, there are unanswered questions in this case.
Yeah.
It smells like a lot of conspiracy, and you just got to wonder, what is the reason for this ongoing dialogue that's been happening for, gosh, the guy's been dead for over 30 years. And my heart goes out to Courtney and even his daughter, who really didn't even get a chance to know her father. But what is very curious to me is the fact that she would request all of the documentation. In no world does that make sense. So I'm aligned with you there, Harvey. Certainly an outrageous demand to have all of the files and leave law enforcement with zero documentation.
Yeah.
But certainly I can see where she would want some degree of privacy.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Coming up.
So there was an incident on the high seas, and it involves whaling.
It was the only way that we could extend the campaign and to continue to focus attention on Iceland's continued illegal whaling operations.
Be right back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Donnell Rawlings took TMZ DC on a city tour.
You know what the irony of this is? A black man takes a white person to the White House.
It's TMZ.
So there was an incident on the high seas, and it involves whaling. Iceland is one of the countries that allows the hunting and killing of whales. And there are groups, as you know, that are steadfastly against this. And one of the groups is led by a gentleman named Paul Watson. He has created a foundation, by the way, has been arrested numerous times for confronting some of these whaling boats that hunt whales. He has been arrested. He was not on the boat in question in Iceland recently, but it is part of his foundation. Right now, 21 crew members are being detained, as is the boat, off the coast of Iceland, as the authorities decide what they're going to do with this boat and with the crew. So joining us right now is Paul. Welcome to TMZ Live.
Oh, thank you.
So why don't you tell us, if you can, kind of set the scene for how the crew of this boat got detained. What were they doing? Did they confront another whaling boat? How'd this happen?
Well, first of all, they're not hunting just any whale. They're hunting endangered fin whales, the second largest whale on the planet. And they're doing it in violation of the International Whaling Commission's global moratorium on commercial whaling. It is illegal. Now, Iceland might authorize it, but under international laws, it's illegal. So for the last month, our crew has been there searching for the whaling vessels, but it's been very difficult because they have the full support of the Coast Guard and the Icelandic government that is telling the whalers where we are, but then not allowing them to say where we are because they are allowed to turn off their AIS system and we're not. So after a month of not being able to intervene, we decided, okay, well, let's go in. We'll go in and confront them in the fjord, which we did and found them right away. And as soon as they were sighted, the whaling vessel turned and ran back. So we were able to abort that whaling mission. In response, the Coast Guard sent a helicopter, a plane, a large vessel, and 3 small boats to board our vessel and detain the crew. Now, this wasn't unexpected. It's no surprise. We knew it would happen, but it was the only way that we could extend the campaign and to continue to focus attention on Iceland's continued illegal whaling operations.
Are you guys making any progress here? Because the whaling ships continue to kill these whales.
Well, I've been arrested many times. I've never been convicted of a crime ever, so I have no criminal record in response to that. But have we made any success? Yeah, we chased the Japanese whaling fleet out of the Southern Ocean Whale Sanctuary. We saved over 6,500 whales in the process. We shut down whaling in Australia, Ecuador, South Africa, South Korea, and in the Soviet Union. And I confronted the Soviet Navy in the past. I've confronted the Danish and Norwegian navies in the past. We've had confrontations with them. And so this is nothing different. It's sort of like routine, really.
So do you fight this on land or on sea? Because in a way, you know, reaching the people who live in Iceland and trying to kind of, play on their conscience and talk about this might be as effective, maybe even more effective than intercepting these boats, because the politicians ultimately are going to listen to the people who get them elected or thrown out of office?
Well, when we first began to oppose Iceland's whaling operations in 1986, 100% of the Icelanders were for it. But now less than 50% support whaling. So we got a lot of support in Iceland. We have a ground team in Iceland. They've been there for the last few years. We're recording, documenting every whale that's caught, catching them in numerous violations. They have been caught under the Animal Welfare Act because one of the whales they recently killed took 4 harpoons in over an hour to kill, which is illegal under Iceland's law, but they simply refuse to enforce it. We caught evidence of them polluting the bay. We brought that evidence to the attention of the Icelandic government. They refused to do anything about it. So they're in violation of international law and Icelandic law. And the reason for this is the man who's responsible, a man named Christian Lofsson. He kills whales because it's a hobby. He loses $2 million a year doing it. But, you know, he's 80 years old and this is what he likes to do. And he has an incredible amount of influence in Iceland. He's one of the wealthiest men in Iceland, and he controls one of the political parties. So what Christian Lofsson wants, Christian Lofsson usually gets. So anyway, we looked on this as an opportunity. We'll bring it into the Icelandic courts. We'll fight it in the courts. It's all part of the overall campaign.
How do you change hearts and minds on this? I'm personally very sympathetic to what you're doing. But how, you know, most people don't see whales. And, you know, it's sort of conceptual more than it is real for a lot of people. So how do you bring it home and paint that kind of graphic picture to change minds?
Well, in 1977, when we opposed Australian whaling, Australia was a whaling nation. Now Australia is one of the strongest anti-whaling nations. So people come around. And, you know, the world has changed over the last 50 years. I think we've eliminated 90% of the whaling operations in the world. And whaling is now restricted to Japan, Norway, and Iceland only. And Iceland's the only one killing fin whales. I'm confident that we will end whaling. Iceland wants to join the European Union. They can't join the European Union and continue whaling. They're going to have a vote on August 29th, and if they vote to join the EU, that's the end of whaling. One of the reasons for our campaign is to focus attention in Europe on this Icelandic whaling operation so that the European Parliament members are well aware that it's happening and that it is illegal and that this is something Iceland would want to bring into the EU, which they're not going to be allowed to do.
That's really interesting. Hey, really appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you.
Coming up.
Aaron Rodgers, over the last few weeks, he's kind of revealed that he has gotten back with his family. They were estranged now for years, and it looked like he was reconnecting with everybody except his brother Jordan. It looks like Jordan may be part of the reconciliation.
Be right back.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. So Aaron Rodgers, we know over the last few weeks, he's kind of revealed that he has gotten back with his family. They were estranged now for years. And there are all sorts of theories as to why. It may have been because of a religious divide. There is talk that he felt the family was taking advantage of his celebrity. And it looked like he was reconnecting with everybody except his brother Jordan. Remember, who went on The Bachelor and talked about an empty table at their home, actually 2 place settings, one for Aaron, one for Olivia Munn, who was his girlfriend at the time. Aaron did not like that at all. Jordan was not in any of the photographs that Aaron posted, which made you think that he was reconnecting with everybody but Jordan. It looks like Jordan may be part of the reconciliation. So Aaron was on the NFL Network with Kyle Brandt and talked about what the impetus was for this move.
A big part of it was getting married and having those conversations with my wife that allowed me to kind of open up to the possibility of coming together. It's been a couple-year process now. There's been a narrative that's gone on for too long that I wanted to kind of shut down. And it's been really beautiful to reconnect with them, all of them. And I got to give my wife a lot of credit for, not that she was pushing me because she never was, but just the way that she loves and supports me. Having her by my side during this process has been really special. And I miss those relationships.
All of them.
Yeah, I was shocked by that too, Harv, because we did not think that Jordan was involved in this. We knew Luke was, we knew mom and dad were.
And you heard the emphasis when he said all of them.
And he doesn't do anything by accident. This may as well be him writing an autobiography. I mean, that's Aaron Rodgers opening up more than you will ever see him open up. And I think he makes it very clear.
I was actually shocked.
I was too. He does not talk about his personal life, Harvey, as we know.
You know,
and he did.
But you know what's really interesting about this?
What?
He mentioned his wife a bunch of times.
I know.
And I almost think that was as important to him in delivering that as his family, you know, his blood family.
Yeah. But you know the whole thing, though. People don't think this woman exists.
But when you listen to that, you have to believe it's true.
It's either true or it's a giant troll. It's just, I don't know. It's so strange to me. He's so famous to never be seen. It's so weird to me. But
at the same time, how many times have you really seen Aaron Rodgers
you don't really
out?
see him out too much.
You don't.
No, he stays out of the limelight.
And so look, there are all these rumors online that he's making this up.
Yeah.
I take him at his word on this. I really do.
Yeah, and it's good that his family is back together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really agree with you guys. Obviously, as we know, over the course of Aaron's career, he's been a very private guy. So I do believe that this is, genuine, that he kind of wants to reconnect with his family and everything. And I believe, being married, that's a huge part of it. I mean, the person that you're with, they want to make you a better person. And I think the big thing is the timing, right? Like, we know that this is Aaron Rodgers' last year in the NFL, he has publicly said that. And I'm wondering if we're having the same discussion if he still had multiple years left in the NFL. I think, obviously he knows that there's a life after football. And I think the timing of all of this is something that can't really be ignored.
That's actually, you know what? I never thought of it that way, but I think you're right. The Cajun Navy has now weighed in on the Nolan Wells death investigation, death mystery. And they really didn't reach any conclusions. By the way, the Cajun Navy was kind of established during Hurricane Katrina, right in the aftermath. And it's not an official government agency, but it's a lot of people, who navigate waters in the Mississippi area, who have helped in search and rescue. They've helped in investigation, and they've been investigating here. They haven't really concluded anything. I read the report, except I think the overlay to what they're saying is that the people who came over to Horn Island with Nolan did not leave with him.
Yeah, I think it's very clear because they put together a timeline from all the tips that they had received, because like you mentioned, they were there, they were a part of the search for Nolan Wells when originally he was missing and then later his body discovered, and they were there too when his body was discovered. So they've been getting a lot of tips and really spearheading the investigation.
They also they've gotten new photographs that we hadn't seen.
Yep. So this is they compiled together a bunch of photos that they had obtained from tipsters, information, interviews with people.
There's one thing that really caught my interest. There were a bunch of boats in the area, and they were identifying each boat. But there's one boat that they called Boat X.
Yes.
And they kept referring to Boat X. And they never really concluded anything. But I walked away from reading that thinking, are they in any way suggesting there's some connection? It doesn't have to be nefarious, but some connection between Nolan and Boat X.
Yeah, I mean, I believe these are the 3 boats that all went out that day. And I think Boat X is it could be one of the 3 boats. It could be a boat that maybe he was also on at the same time.
It's just weird that they labeled it that way.
Right,
It was just different from the others. Anyway, they did not conclude anything except that when you read it and you look at their timeline, it does seem to align with what we've heard up to this point, which is that his friends left the island at around 4:30 in the afternoon.
Yep. And it has all the GPS of the boats, really indicating that all the boats had left the island. And they did have one other thing that they included in there from a witness account who claims that she was on the island at 7:30 p.m. and had noted with a photo that the boat that Nolan was on was gone. And so she basically said Nolan was nowhere in sight at 7:30 p.m.
Although according to two witnesses who talked to authorities, at around 6, he was spotted on the island and his friends had left at 4:30,
right,
an hour and a half earlier.
Right.
Coming up.
This is just a testament to our TMZ After Dark tour that we keep getting bigger and bigger celebrities.
We've gotten huge stars on this bus.
Especially recently. This is just the beginning. Like, we talked about it on the TV show, but I'm gonna get Queen Latifah.
Be right back.
So the TMZ After Dark tour rolled through Hollywood this weekend, as always, and they got lazy.
We got Lazy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony, and this is a TMZ first where we got a celebrity that has a star on the Walk of Fame, and he just got it.
He's the first one that had a star?
Well, does
that's
Janice
right.
Dickinson have a star? We got in Janice Dickinson, we got in Diplo, Lizzo, but like we've never like gone on a little field trip with the bus to visit the star of the celebrity host, and that's what we did because Bone Thugs and Harmony got their star on July 8th.
Where is it?
Very in front of the TCL Chinese Theater.
Oh, it's that? Really?
Yeah, he was like just.
No. I mean, is their star right there?
It's near it. It's like not on the hands and footprints, but it's like in front of the TCL Chinese Theater. Yeah. So it was
okay,
like,
that is choice property, folks.
Yeah.
So was it fun?
It was amazing, and it was just the star power that he holds and Bone Thugs and Harmony holds is just like beyond. So it was surreal to everyone on the bus, and this is just a testament to our TMZ After Dark tour that we keep getting bigger and bigger celebrities.
We've gotten huge stars on this bus.
Especially recently.
I know.
Abby Lee Miller, we got Danny Trejo, and that story got picked up.
Danny Trejo got picked up everywhere.
That got picked up everywhere. So this is just the beginning. Like we talked about it on the TV show, but I'm gonna get Queen Latifah.
Oh my God! If you got Queen Latifah, I'm on the bus.
And he said he'd buy me lunch. Also, shout out to our DJ Coach West.
That was cheap, but whatever. Okay, every weekend we put polls up on the website to find out how you feel about things that we posted last week. We did it this weekend. Here are the results. John Ossoff has BDE. Absolutely, or nah, he's just another politician. They should say absolutely to this. They should. Come on. I mean, if he doesn't, who does? Come on, guys. Okay. Should CBS fire Tony Romo? Remember, he got a DUI. For sure, a DUI is a deal breaker, or no way. Everybody makes mistakes. And yeah, I kind of figured they would say that. Okay, next one. Whose side are you on? Dr. Fauci or Rand Paul? I think it's going to be even. How about that? That is surprising to me. Diddy's prison fight proves Cassie was right, or nope, just what happens in prison. They're going to say proves Cassie was right by a lot. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm surprised it's that close. Donna Mills on OnlyFans. No place for an 85-year-old, or she's still hot. So yeah, we'll see how generous they are. Okay, Donna Mills got 40%. Last one. Washington, D.C. needs more gold or less gold. It's going to be less gold by 64. Wow. There you go. Well, there'll be a sale on gold in about 2 years.
Coming up.
Harry Styles slipped. It's all about recovery. And I think he did a really good job because he knew he was in trouble.
Be right back.
Harry Styles slipped. Okay. He slipped in Mexico City. He was on stage. There was a big rainstorm. And it's all about recovery. And I think he did a really good job because he knew he was in trouble. Kept singing. Got to give him credit.
He does it so well.
And it's sort of, you know what?
It's a good fall.
You have no idea what this means.
Okay.
This was a Burt Reynolds pose.
Yeah, that means nothing to me.
It means nothing to you, right?
Nope.
Burt Reynolds posed naked in Cosmopolitan. in the 70s.
Oh, okay.
That's the way he posed.
That's such a good pose.
In that picture.
Who falls like that?
That is literally the way Burt Reynolds posed.
I'll have to look it up on my work computer.
You have no idea who Burt Reynolds is.
I literally not the slightest idea, but I'm happy that you like him, I think.
I do.
I'm Suzanne Roxanne. I'm in New Mexico, and Harry Styles played off his fall well, but this isn't over. I can't help but wonder if the venue is panicking because someone maybe forgot to wipe down the stage. And just because he seems fine doesn't mean that he wasn't injured. So he could be filing a lawsuit in the next few months.
No, it was raining. It was raining. Talia, come over here.
I just looked up Burt Reynolds.
Okay.
I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Oh, you see the pose?
Yeah.
Okay. So
that's perfect.
So I'm gonna tell you a story.
Okay.
So when I was in law school, there was a guy who, as a gag, because that pose came out when I was in law school, and he did a pose with law books in front of him, and he was
funny.
naked in the library.
That's a good one.
He got fired from his job in a law firm when they saw the picture. That's how bad things were back then.
That's not cool.
I know. Okay, what else do you guys want to talk about?
Johnny Benitez, Brooklyn, New York. You know, I think majority of the people expressing concern for Ariana are like genuine fans. They probably grew up watching her. But whether the people are genuine fans or trolling, I'm pretty sure that it's very frustrating to have a bunch of people diagnosing you online.
But what if they're concerned?
If they're concerned, yeah, I guess there's a way to do it or not to do it. But I guess respectfully or just modestly, but making like maybe wild accusations or these long messages where like specific things might be triggering for her to read.
Right. I agree with that. One more.
Hey guys, Lucas from upstate New York here. When it comes to Courtney Love requesting the deaths records of Kurt Cobain, if it's your significant other and you want to find out what's going on, the last thing I think you would do is try to withhold any information from the police, and none of that makes sense to me. I've been a fan of Kurt Cobain and Nirvana since forever, and it always seems kind of fishy. If that was my loved one or significant other, I'd be trying to do everything I could to make sure that the police had everything they needed.
Well, she said she always agreed that it was suicide. So she said she agreed with the police, and the reason she wanted it was because people were going to profit off the reports and the pictures. That has not silenced people who still have questions.
Coming up.
Dr. Dre, he's a baller. We got him out at Nobu not too long ago with one of the stars on Bravo. Well, then we got him the other night, also at Nobu.
No.
Different woman.
Be right back.
Dr. Dre, he's a baller. So we got him out at Nobu not too long ago with one of the stars on Bravo. Mm-hmm. And we thought, wow, he's dating
big
a
date
new star.
night.
Yeah. Well, then we got him the other night, also at Nobu.
No.
Different woman.
Oh, that's like a cardinal sin.
No, well, he wasn't married to the woman.
Yeah, but still, you don't take a woman to the same date night spot you took another woman.
Once?
There's so many places in the city.
Nobu's the best restaurant in Malibu.
In Malibu, but go to the one downtown or something.
Why would you drive all the way downtown if you can go 5 minutes?
As a woman, if I see a picture of you on a date with another woman at the same restaurant, I'm like, great, this guy's a loser and a player. He can't think of a second restaurant.
Well, she went.
Uh-oh. My bad.
See you tomorrow.